We're learning to let go, not just of things or ambitions, but of the need to be more, to constantly be in control. In the quiet spaces of this season, we're finding the courage to pause, to gather our breath, to simply be here. Nature is calling us back to her rhythm, inviting us to slow down and to listen. This isn't a time to grip tightly or push forward. It's an invitation to soften our grip and to let love become movement within us. Welcome to your practice. As you come to your mat, take a comfortable seat, place your hands somewhere that's grounding for you. And go ahead and close your eyes. Lengthen your spine and invite your eyes and your mind to get a little more quiet. Inviting your mind and body to arrive at the place where you are. Feel the ground beneath you. Start to bring your attention more inward into your body, into your heart. Feeling into that space at the core of your being where peace is a natural occurrence. A place that's always quiet and always within your reach if you settle into it. Taking a couple more deep breaths, inviting your breath to move a bit deeper down into the pit of your belly. You can place your hands together in front of your heart if that's in your practice. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, give yourself a little bow, chin to chest, welcoming yourself to your practice with gratitude. Softly release your hands. Open your eyes. We'll start in child's pose. So come onto hands and knees. Knees nice and wide, big toes toward each other. Send your hips back towards your heels. And crawl your arms forward until your arms are pretty much straight. Rest your forehead and the tip of your nose on your mat. Making sure your breath is moving, feeling into different parts of your body, slowly waking them up, tapping them in. And for today's practice, maybe bend in your elbows, bring your palms together. You might crawl your elbows a little more forward. And with your forehead down, bend your arms and bring your thumbs to the base of your neck. Get a little tricep stretch. Gently releasing your hands. Walk your hands back. Have a seat on your heels so your thighs come together. And interlace your hands behind your low back. So with your elbows nice and bent, create like a U with your hands so you have a lot of space. And move your shoulders way back behind you like you're trying to hide your arms behind you. And you can keep your elbows bent or move your arms a little more straight. And then stay upright, or you can round your back. Bring your forehead towards your knees. Arms come up overhead. Try to keep your hips down on your heels and pull your waistline straight back. Focusing on lifting the shoulders up away from the ground, relaxing in your neck. Gently release your hands and come onto hands and knees. Arms and upper legs straight up and down. Knees about hip width apart. Move through a few rounds of cat-cow, bringing breath and movement together. I like to inhale into cow, but if you want to try exhaling into cow instead, you can. The exhale usually coming on the contraction of the body, so as you round into cat pose, exhaling all of your air out. Do one more. Full inhale and a full exhale. And come to a neutral spine and walk your knees back quite a few inches. Tuck your toes. Shift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And in this first down dog, feet hip width so you have some space. Heels high. Be soft through your knees so you can get your hips up really high. Push your hands down and forward. And if you feel like you're sliding forward in a down dog, press all of your finger pads right under your fingernails down, really gripping through your fingertips. A couple more breaths. Shift your weight forward into plank. So plank is shoulders right over the creases of your wrists, hips in line with shoulders. If you ever want to lower your knees down, you're welcome to. That's for support for your back. Help you build strength in your arms. From here, shift forward a little bit more and lower all the way down. Arms alongside you, palms facing up to the sky, tops of feet to the ground. Be heavy through your hips as you come up, shoulders, chest, head lift. So move your shoulders way onto your back and keep that as you lift your hands up in line with your shoulders. And if your legs stay straight, lift your legs. Locust 2. As you reach your fingers back towards your heels, get height through your chest. And bring a little bit of length to the back of your neck. Rest down, lower one side of your face down. And this time, setting up the same way, interlace your hands behind your low back. So with your elbows nice and bent, lift your shoulders way up and in. And as you lift your chest, reach your knuckles back towards your heels. Again, keep your legs down, or if they stay straight, lift your legs a little. Shoulders lifting. And then again, a little bit of length to the back of the neck. Release your hands, turn your face to the side, lower and rest. Place your hands by your ribs, tuck your toes. Either knees down for support or legs straight, push straight up into plank and push back downward facing dog. Look forward. Walk your feet forward, coming into a forward fold at the front of your mat. For this first one, feet hip width, go ahead and get your hands all the way to the ground so you can really lean weight into your hands for support. You can shake your head lightly, yes and no. Step your left foot back into a lunge. Try to keep your feet hip width apart as you step your foot back. Walk your hands inside of your right foot. So your hands are both on the inside of your foot. Push down through both feet. Lengthen your spine. And keep your back knee lifting, or you can lower it down. It'll change the stretch a bit to lower it down. But reach your heart forward, head back. Feel into your hips. Lift your back knee. Step your back foot forward and forward fold. Make sure your feet are still hip-width apart. Step your right foot back this time, lunge. And when you step it back, you want your front shin to be straight up and down. So a lot of times I'll see people step their foot part way back. You want it way back. Then if you keep your knee up, that's more work. Changes the stretch a bit to bring your knee to the ground. Stay upright on your hands, pushing both feet down. Reach your heart forward, head back. It signals to the body that you're strong and capable when you lift your chin out of your chest. Be with your breath. Lift your back knee. Step your back foot forward, forward fold. Shift the weight back into your heels, and with soft knees, rise up, stand up, reach your arms overhead towards the sky, and lower your arms down by your sides. Mountain pose, stand tall, legs together, roll your shoulders onto your back, lift your chin. As you inhale, reach your arms overhead, stretch up. As you exhale, fold, bring your hands all the way to the ground. Slide your hands up to your shins as you halfway lift, look forward, move your spine straight ahead, and lean forward so the weight's in your toes. Kind of like it feels like you're falling forward. Pull your belly in, move your shoulders onto your back so your chest drops towards the ground and lift your chin. Take a full breath in. Plant your hands, step to plank, knees down or legs straight, lower all the way to your belly. Tops of feet down, keep your hands by your ribs, lift your shoulders up towards your ears and down and back behind you as you curl up for Cobra Pose, Bhujangasana. So heavy through your hips, light through your feet, light through your hands. I see a lot of people push down a lot in Cobra to get up, but the strength comes from your hips pressing down. So notice how when my hands lift, my chest doesn't lower. Take another breath. And exhale, lower down. Push up and back, downward facing dog. Pedaling your feet if that feels good, feeling into the backs of your legs. Try to keep the weight steady in your hands. Look forward, walk forward. As you inhale, slide your hands to your shins, extend your spine, look forward. And as you exhale, fold, hands all the way down. Weight in heels, inhale, stand up, reach up, arms towards the sky. As you exhale, bring your arms down to your sides, mountain pose, stand tall. As you inhale, reach up. As you exhale, fold, hands all the way down. Inhale, hands to shins, extend your spine, look forward. Plant your hands, step or lightly hop to plank. Lower all the way to your belly. Tops of feet down, inhale, curl up, Cobra Pose. Or if you want to take an up dog, and you can do it safely, you can take an up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Couple breaths. Look forward, step or hop, feet to hands. Inhale, hands to shins, extend. Exhale, fold. Stand up, inhale, reach up, arms towards the sky. Exhale, fold right into it, hands down. Inhale, extend. Step or hop, plank. Lower all the way to your belly. Inhale, curl up, cobra or upward facing dog. One breath. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bringing movement and breath together, bringing warmth to the body, not taking these movements too seriously, just staying with your awareness, mind and body together. Bend your knees. Walk your hands back to meet your feet so you're folding at the back of your mat. Keep your feet hip width if that feels good. Legs together is fine. Shift the weight way back in your heels. Bend your knees. Interlace your hands behind your low back. And move your shoulders way up away from the ground. Round your back. Bring your forehead towards your knees. And as your forehead comes towards your knees, send your hips way down and back behind you. It's a version of power pose. If your feet are apart, knees as wide as toes. If your legs are together, squeeze your knees together for support. Pull your belly straight back. Be with your breath. One more full breath in. As you exhale, fold, hands all the way down. Look forward. Walk yourself out to plank. Inhale. Exhale, lower. Inhale, curl up, your back bend, cobra or upward facing dog. Full exhale, downward facing dog. All your breath moves out. Join the inner edge of your legs together. Reach your right leg up and back, three-legged dog. Try to keep your weight steady in your hands and lower that left heel a bit so you get the calf stretch. Another full breath. As you exhale, swing it through, step your foot all the way through to a lunge. So that front shin straight up and down again. Keep your back heel lifted, come up, high lunge, crescent pose. Squeeze your back legs straight for balance and shift forward so you're on your back toes. Feel the stretch come to the back of your back foot. Tuck your right hip way back and lengthen your tailbone towards the ground. Arms, make them intentional. Stretch them up towards the sky. And keep your hips low, right knee moving over to the right. As you lower your back heel, open up warrior two. So root down through both feet. Make your back foot really heavy. Hips nice and low. Reach your chest up, lengthen across your collarbones, and extend out through your hands. Keep your hips nice and low. Bring your left hand lightly to the back of your left thigh. Flip your right palm. Bring your bicep by your ear and side bend for reverse warrior. So your front knee is going to want to straighten, but just for a couple breaths, push it forward and really root down through your back heel. A lot of length through your spine. Keep the shape of your upper body the same as you straighten your front leg. And let your hips go so they slide towards your front foot. A lot of reach through that right side. Take a nice full breath in. And as you exhale, bend your front knee, come forward, extended side angle. Either place your hand to the inside of your foot or slide your forearm up to your thigh. This will give you more space. If your hand reaches, place it down. Top arm up or across your ear, extended side angle. Sometimes reaching the arm across the ear doesn't feel awesome, so you might just reach it up towards the sky. You want shoulders to be stacked here. So if you feel like you're facing the ground, just bring your forearm up to your thigh and work here, pushing your forearm down with a lot of intention. One more nice steady breath. As you exhale, look down, touch down, step to plank, inhale, exhale, lower. Inhale, curl up, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Inner edge of legs together. Reach your left leg up and back, three-legged dog. Hands steady, both pushing down, and lower that right heel just a little. Take another full breath. As you exhale, swing it through, step your foot all the way through to a lunge, front shin straight up and down, back heel lifted, come on up, high lunge, arms overhead. Back legs straight and strong, pushing up towards the sky. And you can shift forward onto your back toes so your back foot's more vertical, getting the stretch. Keep your hips low, but lengthen your tailbone towards the ground. So it's like tucking your tailbone under, so your pelvis is more level. And keep your hips low, left knee moving to the left as you widen and open your right hip, back heel down, warrior two. Rooting down through both feet. Stay low in your hips, but lift your chest. Broaden across your collarbones. Even lift your chin so it's parallel to your left arm. Steady through your breath. Bring your right hand to the back of your right thigh. Flip your left palm. Bicep by ear, side bend, reverse warrior. And as that front knee wants to straighten, push it forward just for a couple breaths. Really heavy through your back heel so you can get length to your spine. And keep your upper body the same as you straighten your front leg, allowing your hips to slide towards your front foot, getting a lot of length through your left side. Take a full breath here. As you exhale, come forward, bend your front knee, extended side angle, hand to the ground or forearm to knee. If your forearm's on your knee, push your elbow into your knee so your knee moves over to the left. If your hand's inside of your leg, lean your shoulder into your knee so your knee moves over to the left. Top arm up or across your ear. Just a couple more breaths here. Look down, touch down, step to plank, inhale, exhale, lower. Inhale, curl up, your back bend. Full exhale, downward facing dog. Look forward towards your hands. Walk your feet forward, but step your feet a little wider than your hands. And you want your feet, your toes turning out and your heels turning in just a little bit. Go ahead and take a squat. And it's okay if your heels don't get all the way down, but eventually you would want them to be getting closer to the ground. The more you step your feet apart from each other and the more you turn your toes out, the easier it'll be to get your heels down. But if you want to keep your hands under your heart for support, you can do that. Otherwise, triceps into knees, place your palms together. Close your eyes for just a couple breaths, deep breaths here. Now place one hand under your heart, lean into your shoulder and reach your other arm towards the sky. Open up. Really leaning your shoulder into your knee, bringing a lot of heart opening, chest open. You can look up at your hand. And switch sides. So bring your other hand to the ground. Lean into that shoulder, so shoulders pressing into your knee. Reach your other arm towards the sky. Breathe deeply. Bring both hands to the ground. Lean into your hands. Lift your hips all the way. And then with the weight in your heels, stand all the way up for mountain pose. At the front of your mat, feet hip width apart. Make sure your feet point straight ahead. And step your left foot back into a bit more than a walking stance, not quite a warrior two stance. But you want your heel down and you want your toes pointing to the top left corner of your mat. So you're only turning your foot out enough to get your heel down to the ground. Hands on hips, square your hips to the front of your mat so you feel that front hip pull back. Keep that action happening, so that front hip's pulling back as you start to hinge forward over your front leg. A very straight front leg. But once you feel like you can't hinge any further or that hip starts pulling forward, then you can bring a little bend to your knee so that you can get your hands to the ground. Unclench your toes so you can lift and spread all of your toes, placing them back down lightly. And if it feels okay at this point, go ahead and relax your neck. Roll your forehead towards your shins. You want to be heavy through both feet, so make sure you're pressing both feet down. And as you inhale, test your balance. Slide your hand to your ankle. Extend your spine straight ahead. Lengthen. And as you exhale, fold. Make sure that front hip stays tucking back. Do that one more time. Inhale, extend your spine. Exhale, fold, front hip tucks back. Bring a bend to your front knee. Step your back foot forward, mountain pose, reset at the front of your mat. Feet still hip width. Step that right foot back a bit more than a walking stance. Toes only turning out enough to get your heel down. Hands on hips, tuck the front hip back. Once you feel like your hips are square, so both hip points point forward, start to hinge forward over a straight front leg. Once you can't hinge anymore, bend your knee a little, get your hands all the way to the ground. If it feels okay, roll your forehead towards your shin, relax your neck. Nice and heavy through both feet. Test your balance, slide your hand to your ankle. Inhale, extend your spine, look forward. Exhale, front hip back, fold. Do that one more time. Inhale, extend, look forward, spine long. Exhale, fold, hands down. Bring a bend to your front knee. Step your back foot forward, stand up, mountain pose. Nice big breath in. Nice slow breath out. We'll try a little balancing here. So you want to come to the middle of your mat just for spacing. I don't know if you're around anything that you might fall into. You're not going to fall. But go ahead and spread your right toes so you have a nice platform to work with. Bend your left knee so that you reach back and hold the top of your left foot with your hand. And you might need to widen your knee, widen your foot to get a hold of your foot, but then try to bring your knees back together so they're touch and they're flush. Find your balance, steady your gaze, pick something on the ground that's not moving, reach your arm out in front of you, palm pointing down. So you want your arm parallel to the ground. Give your left foot a kick into your hand so you feel your foot actually press into your hand. Keep that press happening as you hinge forward, attempting to keep your right hand parallel to the ground. And the left knee is going to want to go off to the left, but as best you can, keep your knees in line with each other. And if you come out, you fall, you reset, hinging forward, hips square. Then find length, so reach your right hand way out in front of you, and with that kick still pressing into your hand, use the strength of your arm to lift your leg back a little further. This is dancer pose. Take one more full breath. And then step your feet together, reset, mountain pose. These balancing poses, these little more tricky poses, just here to test us, just here to show us what our body's capable of. So you don't want to take yourself too seriously. You're just exploring, you're just playing, you're just seeing what your body can do. Over time, these balancing poses get easier. So go ahead and bend, reach your left arm out in front of you, bend your right knee, and however you need to get it, hold the top of your foot, and I'm holding the outer edge of my foot. It's kind of like the top and the outer edge. But once you have your foot, bring your knees back in line with each other. Parallel to the ground, straight front arm, start to reach forward, and don't let your knee go off to the side. Try to keep it in towards the midline. Hips in line. And as you reach forward, keep that kick through your back foot. And then think length, like you're trying to touch a tree that's out in front of you. Use the strength of your back arm to lift your leg. Breath still moving. And slowly come back, mountain pose, reset. Very nice, step to the front of your mat. Moving with your breath again, inhale, reach up, stretch up, arms towards the sky. Exhale, fold, hands all the way down. Inhale, hands to shins, extend your spine, look forward. Plant your hands, step to plank. Full breath in. Exhale, lower. Inhale, curl up, your back bend. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. From down dog, inner edge of legs together. Reach your right leg up and back, three-legged dog. As you exhale, step it through to a lunge. Walk your hands inside of your right foot. You can even walk your right foot over to the right a little bit and lower your back knee down. Keep your back toes tucked under and either stay upright on your hands, extending your spine like we did at the beginning, or this time, if you have space, you can come down onto your forearms, really feeling into that outer hip. The fall season asks us to move with nature's rhythms and start to turn our attention more inward. The winter season coming up is more of an internal experience, and grounding ourselves and really opening into our hips is a way of feeling more in our body, more in our self, connected to ourself. So noticing what comes up when you feel still in your body and potentially strong sensations in your hips. Just keep reminding yourself to come back to your breath and soften anywhere you can. Come back up onto your hands. Bring your left hand over to the left. Bring your right hand to your right knee. Turn your toes open a bit and widen your knee so it's in line with your toes. And twist, look over your top shoulder. You can stay here or bend your back knee. Reach back, hold the top of your back foot with your hand. And shift your hips back to meet your heel as you open up, really pushing your head back. Breathing into that quad stretch. As gently as you can, release your back foot, untwist, step back, downward facing dog. Inner edge of legs together. Left leg up and back. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, step it through to a lunge. Hands come to the inside of your left foot, so you can step your left foot over to the left a bit if that helped. Lower your back knee, keeping the back foot tucked this time. Either extend your spine or come down onto your forearms, but try to keep your front foot heavy as you come onto your forearms, pushing it down. Noticing your mind space, noticing where any tension creeps up. Maybe it's in your hands or your face. Just using your breath to soften as much as you can. Moving slowly, come back up onto your hands. Bring your right hand over to the right, left hand to left knee, turn your toes open, widen your knee, and then twist, look over your top shoulder. Or if you're not feeling enough of a quad stretch here, you'd be feeling the quad stretch in your back thigh. If you need more, you can bend your back knee, reach back, hold the top of your back foot with your hand, and shift your hips back to meet your heel. So it actually feels like you're coming out of the pose when you do that, but it helps the knee feel more secure when the knee joint's closed. Breathe air into your belly, really pushing your head back as you twist. Very gently release your back foot, untwist, step back, downward facing dog. Lower to hands and knees. We'll do a bit of heart opening now. Coming into an upright kneeling position, if it doesn't feel good to be kneeling upright on your knees, you can always roll your mat over if you're on hard ground and give yourself a double or triple cushion, or get a towel, whatever works. But in an upright kneeling position, knees right under your hips, so your knees are about hip width apart, and then tuck your toes behind you. Bring your hands to your hips with your thumbs kind of wrapping around the fronts of your hips and your fingertips pointing down at your glutes so that when you press your hips forward, your fingers can help you keep your hips in line. So you want your hips right over your knees. They'll tend to be behind. So you have to push them forward, fingertips pressing into your glutes. Now feel your tailbone tuck under like cat pose. Lift your chest, move your arms behind you, and start to lean back, really pressing your hands into your hips. I like to keep my chin into my chest at first as I settle in. And maybe your heels are within reach. You might kind of dangle one hand back behind you and see if you can touch. Great. Hands on heels might feel more supportive. If they don't reach, then just keep your hands on your hips for support, really lifting your chest, moving your arms behind you. But if you have your hands on your heels, shoulders way back, it might feel good to relax your neck. Make sure your hips are still pushing forward over your knees. You come out in the reverse motion, so return your hands to your hips. Push your hands forward. Slowly come up. Find a child's pose for a minute. Let your blood resettle. Couple deep breaths. Now coming through hands and knees, cross your ankles, have a seat behind your feet, and extend your legs out in front of you. Holding your inner left knee, pivot your knee over to the left so you create a 90-degree angle with your legs. Face your right leg so your toes point up to the sky. You can stay upright or start to fold forward over your right leg. If your right knee needs to bend, allow that to happen. You want yourself to feel supported. You don't want too much pulling. A sensation's normal, but you want it to be a manageable sensation. As you fold, twist to the right so your belly button is more over your thigh, and try to make this other knee heavy so it's reaching down towards the ground. Soften your eyes. And as you inhale, lengthen your spine, look at your toes. And as you exhale, sit all the way up. Extend both legs long. Pivot the other way, so pull your right knee in, creating that 90-degree angle. Face your legs so your toes point up. Stay upright or fold, bending your knee if you need to so that your back and your leg feel supported. If you need to get your glutes out of the way, you can pull those back too. Opposite knee reaching down towards the ground, twisting your torso more towards your straight front leg. Breathe deeply. As you inhale, lengthen your spine, look at your toes. And as you exhale, sit all the way up. Extend both legs long this time. Bend your knees, bring your feet to the ground, feet about hip width, and you want your feet parallel to each other so they're not turning out to the sides. Hands, bring them back behind you about 1.5 feet. You want your thumbs pointing forward and your fingers pointing side to side. And lean onto your hands so you can lift your chest and really lean back. Keep your chest lifting as you press through your feet and lift your hips. Try to get your chest up higher than your shoulders. If your chest is higher than your shoulders, maybe rest your head back again. Feet heavy, hips high. Recruit your glutes. Take one more steady breath. Exhale, slowly lower your hips back down. Extend your legs. Get your glutes out of the way, so reach under your sitting bones and pull the flesh of your glutes back. Soft bend to the knees. Be heavy through your hips and your heels as you reach your arms overhead. Find length to your spine. And keep all of this length as you fold forward, Paschimottanasana, forward fold. Letting your hands rest wherever they naturally do so your shoulders can roll forward. Somewhat actively pressing your hips down and back and pushing your heels down and forward. You can pull your waistline straight back so you round your spine as evenly as you can. As you inhale, lengthen your spine, look towards your toes. As you exhale, refold. Using your hands, walk alongside your legs, lift your chest. We're going to come back into that uprighting kneeling position. This next position, there's a few stages, and I really don't want you to have any pain in the fronts of your knees. So definitely listen to what your knees are telling you to do. But in that upright kneeling position, knees right under your hips, make your feet just a little bit wider than your hips. So it's not a lot, it's just by a little bit. You want to bring your fingertips to I call them your knee pits, the pit of your knee, and you're going to push your calf muscles down and out to the sides to make space for your hips. So fingers to knee pits, smash your quads down and move them out to the sides as you lower your hips down. And you're going to get a lot of information right away from your knees as you lower your hips down. So if it doesn't feel good, maybe try again. You can kind of reset, try it again. And if you feel a ton of pull to the fronts of your knees, chances are you're going to get plenty of stretch by just doing this sitting on your heels and just practicing closing that knee joint. So you're either here or with your hips down, you're here. But wherever you are, just settle. Try to have your hips be heavy and lean back a bit. If your hips are on the ground, you want about a finger's distance between your hips and your heels. Bring the backs of your hands to the tops of your thighs with your palms facing up. This is a gesture of receiving. It's just an energetic gesture, kind of signals to our heart and body that we're open to receiving guidance, receiving abundance, receiving grace. Just be with your breath here. You can close your eyes. I listen better to my breath when my eyes are closed. Noticing where the mind goes when the body and eyes get quiet. You do that noticing with as little judgment as possible. You aren't here to judge yourself. You're here to be with yourself and to show up, seeing everything exactly as it is with patience and grace and gratitude. Softly bat your eyes open. To come out of this, you want to bring your hands to either sides of your shins, push down, lift your hips, and then come into downward facing dog with your legs really, really straight. So if it helps you get your legs straight, to go 1 foot at a time, bending the opposite knee, just really pressing the back of your leg behind you so that you get your kneecaps to release a bit. And shift forward into plank pose. Take a nice deep breath in. As you exhale, lower all the way to your belly. Once there, flip over onto your back, please. And on your back, bring your feet to the ground with your knees bent. I'm looking up at the tops of the trees right now. It's so nice. Maybe you can imagine that you're looking up at your favorite kind of tree. Bring your feet hip width. Cross your right ankle over the top of your left knee so you create a figure 4 shape with your legs. And you want to flex your right foot so the outer edge of your foot's pushing into your knee. And you can use your hand inside of your thigh to push your thigh away from you, feeling into the outer hip stretch. Or if you need more of a stretch here, lift your leg, reach through the loop of your leg, and hold the back of your thigh with your hand. I see a lot of people do like a straight leg here. That's not really necessary. You can keep your knee bent. Just flex both feet and try to be as relaxed as possible. If it feels good, you can kind of shift side to side. If you're really open in your hips, which is not a challenge, it's never a challenge, it's just if you are or if you aren't, you might feel more stretch holding the front of your shin. For me personally, my hips are pretty tight. That has me kind of peeling up off the ground, I usually go for my thigh. Send a couple breaths deep into your outer hip, into your belly. And keeping a hold of that left leg, uncross your right one and extend your leg long on your mat so your heel's down. Bring your right hand to your outer left knee and shift your hips to the left a little as you twist and bring your thigh across your body. I like to hook these lifted toes behind my thighs so I have somewhere to rest. And then aim your thigh about parallel to the ground. Chances are your knee won't come to the ground with your back feeling good, so I always keep it about parallel. The other hand can either rest on your hip with your elbow down or extend your arm off to the side. You could even look the opposite way if that feels good. Taking a couple nice deep breaths into your belly. Lift your knee back up. Shift your hips back to center and reset with both feet on the ground, knees bent. Left ankle this time, cross it up and over your right knee. Flex your foot so the outer edge of your foot's pushing into your thigh. Stay here pushing your thigh away from you, or for a deeper stretch, hold the back of your thigh with your hands. Tight interlace, you don't want to let go. Again, much more difficult would be in front of your shin. Much deeper stretch. Try to work somewhere where your shoulders are heavy on the ground, neck relaxed. And just focus on that opening in the hip, kind of releasing some of the grip. Just letting your air move freely. Now, keeping a hold of your leg that you're holding, unhook your crossed one, extend it long. Bring your opposite hand to your opposite knee. Shift your hips up and over to the right as you cross your thigh across your body, hooking your toes as a kickstand. Thigh about parallel to the ground. Right hand either on your hip or extend it long. You can look to the right if that feels good. Deep breaths here. Bring your knees back to center, feet back on the ground with your knees bent, arms alongside you, hips in line with heels, heels in line with hips. And press your shoulders down so that you can lift your hips a little, pressing through your feet. Lean side to side, walk your shoulders underneath you so your shoulders move in towards your spine. And interlace your hands behind your hips. Unless you don't reach comfortably, then you could just push your forearms down, creating fists with your hands. Either way, shoulders keep shrugging in as you push your feet down and lift your hips all the way to your capacity. Be aware that the knees like to go wide. If that's happening, lower your hips a little, press through the inner edge of your feet more, and lift your hips back up, only as high as they can go without knees going wide. Support yourself as you slowly lower back down. Feet apart, knees resting together. You can rest your hands on your belly so that you can feel yourself breathe. Setting up for one more back bend. If upward bow is in your practice and you can do it safely, I'm not going to walk you through it today, but if you like a bow to complete your practice, you can do that here. Otherwise, walking through bridge one more time, feet hip width, shoulders down. Press your feet down to lift your hips a little and lean side to side. Walk your shoulders underneath you. Maybe you find the interlace of your hands this time. If not, forearms pressing down. Lift your hips to your capacity all the way up. Head heavy, shoulders pressing down. breath still moving. Support yourself as you slowly lower back down. Feet apart, knees together, rest for just a beat here. Last couple poses, happy baby pose, bring your knees into your chest. And with your knees wide, reach your arms inside of your legs. Hold the outer edge of your feet with your hands. So your arms are inside of your legs, but you're holding on the outer edge of your feet. Pulling on the outer edge of your feet, try to anchor your knees towards your outer ribs, maybe eventually moving towards the ground outside of your ribs. Flex your feet so they point straight up towards the sky. You can stay steady, or like you're rocking a baby, rock side to side. And you can stay here enjoying your baby pose, or if you want one more forward fold, we're going to do a reclined forward fold. So keeping a hold of the outer edge of your feet, bring your arms outside of your knees, legs toward each other. Start to roll to your upper back, resting in between your shoulder blades, aiming your toes behind your head a bit, but it's not plow pose. You're not going all the way back. You actually want your hips to be as close to the ground as possible. Just feeling into the hamstring stretch. So push the backs of your legs up towards the sky. Go ahead and roll slowly, hips back down. Hug your knees into your chest, hands to the fronts of your knees. Gently rock yourself side to side. Taking a moment with yourself here, giving yourself so much love. Gratitude for showing up for yourself. As you settle into your final resting pose, don't skip this. I see so many people skip this. This moment of rest, allowing your nervous system to resettle, enjoying this light buzz, this beautiful energy you've created. Closing your eyes, extending your legs, your arms, however you feel most rested. Taking the next couple minutes here to just be with yourself, be with your breath. Slowly bringing some awareness back into your body. Maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes, especially if they've gotten cold. Slowly bending your knees. Roll to rest on your right side, allowing yourself to roll towards the ground, feeling the earth, the pressure of the earth pushing up against you, holding you here. And if you can keep your eyes closed, please do. As you push yourself back up to a seated position, hands resting somewhere that's comfortable to you, whether that's in your lap or palms together in front of your heart. Sit up tall. And just be with your breath for a couple more minutes here. Each time we practice is like planting seeds of steadiness within us. We find ourselves a little more grounded, a little softer and open to the flow of life, just as it is. In this autumn season of letting go, may we carry forward a steadier heart, meeting life's circumstances with ease and gentleness. Thank you for being here, for choosing your practice today, for taking this time for yourself. Place my hands to my heart. In Sanskrit, there's a word that means thank you. Dhanyavadaha. Thank you so much. See you next time.